The 581st edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up today with promo code MMASGPN to claim your special pick in first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code MMASGPN.
We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Heidi ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 581 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm going to dedicate this one to one of our YouTube friends, Abu Dhabi, who has now asked 3 times what the opening song is, and we have answered him 3 times, and I'm assuming he's going to ask us again, so I will tell you again here. It is Unloaded by The Guys. You can find it on Spotify or YouTube. So Unloaded by The Guys, because maybe you don't read the comments on YouTube. Who's to say? But anyhow, this goes out to Abu Dhabi. Thank you for coming to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is our last regional MMA event before the UFC kicks off again, or our UFC coverage more precisely kicks off again tomorrow. We're covering Fury FC, the Texas-based promotion that runs Sunday afternoons, which is a fun thing, at least during non-NFL season for us. So they have an event coming up this coming weekend. 22 bouts on the card. We shall be covering all 22 of them with winning picks. Buckle in. Gumby's got in-depth breakdown of all of them. The man laughing is the man who has all the answers for all 22 fights. It would be Daniel Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Chalks Fox. Hello, Daniel Gumby Vreeland.
It's a lot of AMI fights, a lot of 0-0 fights. I think you alluded to it last episode. You're like, oh, this is a good card, right? And I was like, no, the top of it's really good. Like these top 2 fights, like the winner of the last 2 fights, both should wind up on Contender Series. And I have pretty strong feelings about both of them. We'll obviously get there in a little while, but like the winners of both those fights should wind up on Contender Series. The rest of the fights, but sometimes with those fights too, you get a lot of 0-0s. You get people with bad lines, and those are exploitable. So we're gonna exploit them for you.
Yeah, this is a promotion the UFC does use as a feeder league to them. I guess mostly to the Contender Series at this point, right? There is no feeder leagues to the main roster. They want you through the Contender Series, then they can get you for cheap. So, but yeah, we've seen fighters come off here on a Contender Series, like Cameron Smotherman. Oh, that went well for us, right?
It didn't.
But anyhow, so yeah, you can catch tomorrow's stars today. I think that's what they used to say for the junior hockey team here in town. I think that was their slogan, tomorrow stars today or something like that. Anyhow, so we're going to give you the 5 fights, and then the lightning round shall be 17 fights full. So buckle up. Gumby has us breaking down it. 2 female fighters making their pro debuts. So he must know something that we don't know about that fight coming up. We assume, right?
I do.
Well, you do, of course, and we're all gonna very shortly. We're gonna find out something about it as well. If you want to know more about college baseball, Gumby can probably help you with that. But Amanda probably knows even more than Gumby would be our boy Noah Bieniek, Bienie. Check him out on socials. He's got you covered. They're apparently running the college baseball NCAA tournament is going on right now. He's got you covered with all his picks and breakdowns. He hosts the college baseball experience, and check out all his stuff on socials as well. He probably doesn't know about Fury FC though. And my man to the left of me on the screen, if you're staring at YouTube screen, he knows about Fury FC. We have actually covered it quite a few times. Here, I'm not sure if we've covered any of these fighters before or not. None of the names seem super familiar to me. Adam Smith's the guy who invented economics, right? Same guy?
That's correct. Same guy.
Cool. I know him. And then the rest we're gonna get to know the rest of the people right about now. We're kicking things off with the aforementioned 0-0 versus 0-0 fight. This would be of 22 fights in the card. Gumby picked this one. So we're going to find out why. There's got to be a reason. Bekah Irwin from the United States of America versus Sofia King from the United States as well. We'll tell you about King first. She's 0-0. 2-1 as an amateur fighter. So she only fought 3 times, even in amateur fighting. What does Gumby have up his sleeve here? Irwin, 0-0, 1-0 in Muay Thai, 3-0 in kickboxing. So there's a little bit more on her. Maybe she's a really good fighter. Maybe that's what's happening here. We'll find out. Gumby, we don't have lines or anything for here. Tell us why we're covering this fight.
So first of all, Bekah Irwin is not just a kickboxer. She fought for Glory. So like in some pretty high level fights too in Glory. And the reason I'm covering this one is because I think we're going to find a lot of value here. Bekah Irwin, because of that Glory background and regional promotions, love to snatch up Glory kickboxers. I think she's going to come in here as a big favorite. I think you're going to see her at like negative, 250, 275 or something like that. You get Sofia King on the return at like plus 225. And there's the value I love. Sofia King is a brawler in every sense of the word. If you've watched her fight on the regional scene or you've watched any of her AME fights, like she comes forward and she throws the least technical punches you've seen in a minute. And you might say to yourself, well, she's fighting a Glory kickboxer. That's dumb as hell. But the follow-up to that is she's got really good takedowns and ground and pound once she gets inside. You might throw some pretty wild strikes to get you into the inside, but like her takedowns are very vicious, very persistent. And then when she gets top control, she is, she's like rabid with the ground and pound. And not for anything, Bekah Irwin, very tall for this weight class. She's 5'8" at flyweight, which is very long and lanky. But she fights extremely, and maybe it's the kickboxing, and I haven't seen her in MMA yet, and she's making a transition, but she fights very upright. And for me, that's a nightmare against somebody who is, quite a bit shorter than her and is going to be rushing for the inside and looking for the leg. I think she's going to find the legs. I think you're going to see Sofia King with tons of top control. And you can get her at a 2-1 underdog, which is where I think she's going to be. Definitely play that Sofia King side.
Where else are you going to get that analysis? Nowhere. No one else is crazy enough to cover this, right? Bekah Irwin, Sofia King, no one. I guarantee no one else. Is there going to be lines on? I guess it's a pro fight.
Yeah. Fury FC is kind of a popular one on Bet Online because it's on Sunday. Cool. And there's nothing else going on, so like you might as well bet regional MMA on Sunday mornings.
You degenerates. They're feeding right into your habit, you degenerate people. So all right. That is good to hear. Gumby's got us hopefully a big dog right out the gate, maybe even bigger. If people haven't been checking out this other gal's amateur career, that we may have a even bigger dog here. All right. The aforementioned Adam Smith, the economist from decades or centuries ago. He's in a 150 catchweight bout against Jake Heffernan, both from the United States of America. I didn't tell you when and where this fight card is. Let's go back to the starting now, shall we? This is Fury FC 91, Moran versus Rodriguez, June the 9th, as I said, Sunday afternoon, Rosenberg, Texas, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time start. UFC Fight Pass, which is another great part, and the prelims are on YouTube, even better, right? All right, we'll tell you about Adam Smith first. Smash is the nickname. 11-11, 1 knockout, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 6 times. 0-2 in Fury. He's lost 3 straight fights before he won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 5 straight. So 0-3, 2-3, 2-8. Gumby didn't promise it was top to bottom. Amazing card, right? Used to fight at lightweight, used to fight at welterweight, 2012 pro MMA debut, 2-2 as pro grappler. The man has experience, right? We got to give him that. The grinder he's going up against, though, Heffernan. The grinder versus Smash. Grinder's 9-4, 1 knockout, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted twice. 7-2 in Fury. Win-loss over his last 4. He got submitted in his last fight. He's fight at featherweight, 1-2 in LFA, 0-1 as a grappler. So he's got some experience as well. All right, Gumby, go ahead.
I think obviously based on the record, I think you're going to see Heffernan here as a large favorite. Probably negative 300-ish. I'm going to say I'm going to take Jake Heffernan, but you can hear the reserve in my voice here. And that's, I don't trust Adam Smith to fight as bad as I need him to in order for Jake Heffernan to run away with this. So Jake Heffernan can tend to be a kind of risky guy on the mat, and he puts himself in some bad situations. Adam Smith, on the other hand, is a really great wrestler for roughly 4 minutes. And then he tends to look like he tires out. Sometimes
he's the grinder, though. Is he not?
No. Adam Smith.
I'm sorry, Smith. Yeah, Smash.
Yeah. So Heffernan's grinder makes sense, and Adam Smith's smash makes sense, right? It's like he goes in there, he smashes, and then maybe he's a little tired. or the smash didn't go as well as he thought and he quits. It seems like sometimes he's just like, well, that didn't work. That's enough of that, and I'm all done. And if he does that against Heffernan, I think Heffernan takes over and finds a finish and wins. But the problem is that I think when they're their best, I think Adam Smith is maybe the better fighter. I just don't think he can put a whole fight together. So, like, if this is negative 300, I'd say just stay off of it. If you can get Jake Heffernan down in the, in the ones, maybe even the early twos, I'd say he's probably a play. But I think where he's going to come in is probably not worth it. But I'm going to take Jake Heffernan. I think he scrambles a little better. He's got a little bit more grind to him, as the name might suggest. And I think he wins this one.
All right, so all you people with a bunch of extra money, throw a bunch of money on Smith for us to get the line down, and then we'll hammer Heffernan. I'm sure you always see UFC always likes to post those. One better bet at $100,000 on Nico Price. Like what? Like I know it's relative. Money is all relative. Like obviously that person has a lot of extra money, so $100,000 doesn't mean anything to it. But how can you be that confident in a guy?
Nico Price.
And Nico Price he came through. How can you be that confident in Nico Price? The fact that it paid off is only going to encourage people like that. So anyhow, put $100,000 on Adam Smith for us. He will want you to do that because it's it feeds into the economy. Get that line down for us for Heffernan. All right, before we move on, Underdog Fantasy wants to remind you the NBA playoffs are here. It's hard to remember that because we've had about a week off or so, but it's going to be kicking up soon. This weekend, right? The 6th or Thursday. So tomorrow, 2 days, kicking off again. And our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting for you. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing the pick'em game is the simplest, selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. You make entries of all basketball or mix and match across your other favorite sports, such as MMA. You win up 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Gumby, do you have picks for us? You've given us Derek Lively over for higher for his rebounds. I'm saying the forbidden words here. Higher for his rebounds. Luka Doncic higher for his points. Are you expecting Dallas to win game one? Is that what's
I am expecting them to win every game ever. I will also take the higher than on Al Horford's 3-pointers made. He's listed at 1.5. I think he's going to be unmarked enough here that he's going to wind up with at least 2. And that one's a spicy play. You're going to get 1.5 times on that one. So get in on
nice.
Al Horford's higher than on his 3-pointers made.
Is this your anti-Boston coming through?
I'm not anti-Boston. I do hate bandwagon fans in my area, but that's neither here nor there. All right. So anyhow, make those picks. He assures us they're not biased picks. Oh, you picked Al Horford. So there you go. He is a Boston player. So there you go. All right. Gummies gave you the picks. Go check out underdogfantasy.com. Their homepage, you'll see a daily special there. And if you're a new customer, you get a pick'em special in the lobby when you sign up. Plus, Underdog will also be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and up here in Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's MMA SGPN at underdogfantasy.com. Please, ladies and gentlemen, least you can do. Gumby's going to be winning so much money here on Fury. All right. Not as many dogs, unfortunately, as yesterday's episode, Octagon, but hey, we're only halfway through, right? We've got welterweight fight next. Doyle versus Sam Kilmer. 3 5-minute rounds. Kilmer 6-4, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 2-4 in Fury. However, he's won 2 of his last 3, and before that, he went 2-4. Lost his last fight. Used to fight at lightweight. Doyle, DJ is the nickname. DJ Doyle, 5-1 with 5 knockouts. He's been knocked out once, so he owes his rounds. Damn it. 0-1 in Fury. Got knocked out in his last fight. Was regional champion. 1-inch a fight over Kilmer. So I think Doyle's going to be a big favorite here, not just because of the record, but because this looks like a get-right fight for him. I'm going to say negative 350 for Doyle. And I hate doing this in back-to-back fights because this is totally not my style. I'm going to go big favorite again, and I'm also going to tell you not to bet it. Because that's what I said about Heffernan. If he comes in as a big favorite, if Doyle comes in as a big favorite, I'm going to say the same thing here. I think ultimately Kilmer is going to have some wrestling advantage early on. And in fact, I think he's the better wrestler. I just also think his gas tank is atrocious. Whereas with Adam Smith, it was more like, I think he's kind of quitting and doesn't seem to want to be in there anymore. With Kilmer, it's just like, I don't think he's able to do this for a very long period of time because he's like kind of explosive and not in a way that like is conducive to fighting for 15 minutes. Doyle is my issue with him as a big favorite is that he's predictable. It seems like no matter what time you see him going into a striking exchange, you're like, I know exactly what punches he's about to throw. And I know way more about jiu-jitsu than I know about striking. And I still know what strikes he's about to throw. And like, for me, that's a problem. And I think Kilmer's probably not going to be able to take advantage of enough of it to get him out of there early, like his last opponent did. But I do worry that if Kilmer's cardio holds up or if he banks a couple of rounds and Doyle can't get the finish on a tired Kilmer, that you're not going to want to be sitting there with one of your parlays hinging on Don Doyle. So I like Doyle. I think, his striking looks fine. It's just like a little bit too mechanical, a little bit too rote. But I think it's good enough to beat Kilmer once he slows down a little bit. So give me Don Doyle in this one.
Chalky Gumby, my God.
I took a dog in the first one. I said plus 200.
That's true. DJ Don Doyle. Let's not forget he's a DJ, so you got to pick him. All right, let's go to our co-main, shall we? Yadier DelValle. He's from Cuba. The Cuban Problem. He's, I guess, Pena Allamov. He is from the United States of America. This is, as I said, featherweight fight, co-main event, 3 5-minute rounds. Allamov is 4-1, never been finished in a fight. He has also never finished anyone, so he owes us some finishes. He does not owe us rounds, this man. All of his fights have taken place in Fury. He lost his debut. He's won 4 straight since then. He's a year younger than DelValle. DelValle, the Cuban Problem, 6-0, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's 4-0 in Fury. Won his last fight via submission. Used to fight at 155 pounds.
He actually beat Adam Smith in his last fight, guillotine. I want to think it took like a minute, and then he got that guillotine. I'm going to go with DelValle here. I think this is a contender series guy. Allamov, he's got some snappy striking and like when he's landing, he looks good on the feet. The problem for me is his chin's just very high. I don't think his game's very well rounded. And DelValle, not for anything, has beaten some really good people. So like he beat Adam Smith, who again we kind of poo-pooed earlier due to his record. But he also beat Michael Aswell. And I know that name doesn't mean anything to people right now, but Michael Aswell is going to be on Contender Series this fall. So DelValle has a win over him and is undefeated, but Aswell's the one getting the chance on Contender Series. Like, that's kind of an interesting one right there. And really the most impressive thing about that fight is DelValle took him down and had his back within like, I want to say like a minute and a half into that fight. He didn't wind up getting the submission, but like, he held really high leverage positions for pretty much that whole fight. I think he's probably going to do the same thing to Allamov here. I also wouldn't be surprised if he tagged Allamov's chin, being that Allamov carries it so high. So yeah, I'll take Yadier DelValle here. I think he's a much better fighter, and in general is just like on the right trajectory to wind up in one of these big organizations.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his resume. I had a feeling this was going to be one of the guys that they're trying to set up here. Yeah. What number did you say again? Because
I didn't actually say for this one. He's going to be negative 400 probably. I'm actually kind of hoping Allamov's name pulls that number down a little bit. I love talking about the Russian rub here and OV names move the line down, but I don't think it's gonna be enough for him. I think it's still probably gonna be a big favorite, but if it does pull it down, like that makes it even better.
Definitely. All right, before we move on, another thing that can make your bets a lot better is Rhythm, RITHMM. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game. Make it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning your algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models so you can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Start a free 7-day trial and start winning your NBA player roster with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps.
Bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with NYRA Bets. Join now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Belmont Stakes at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Need an extra boost? Bet the Penn Mile with a bonus. Earn $10, win or lose, when you bet at least $100 on Penn National on Friday. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. That's not all. Get $10, win or lose, when you opt in and bet at least $100 on Monmouth Park on Saturday. On Sunday, it's your chance to win big at Monmouth Park. Grab a share of $2,500 when you hit the last two trifectas. Just opt in at nyrabets.com and get ready to cash in on the excitement. The winning streak continues. Score another $20, win or lose, when you bet at least $100 on Asinibioya Downs. Boy, I butchered that, didn't I? On Monday. And remember to get your free $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus for the Belmont Stakes. Go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25.
All right, we're going to the main event. We're going to Paris. Actually, no, the gentleman's name is Paris. There is a Paris, Texas as well. I know that. Is he from Paris, Texas? Let's check, ladies and gentlemen. It would be Paris Moran, the champion I'm talking about. He's from Texas, it says. We'll just assume he's named after the city he's from. Okay, that's how it works in the world, right? He's the flyweight champion. He's going up against challenger Freddie Rodriguez. This is 5 rounds. This is at 125 pounds. And I'm going to tell you about Rodriguez, the comeback kid, not the. So he's from old time England. Apparently, he's 6-1, Mr. Rodriguez, with 4 knockouts. He's been submitted 1 time, 2-1 in Fury. He's won 2 straight fights. He used to fight at bantamweight, 1-0 in LFA, 0-1 as pro grappler. Fury champion Moran, Fury flyweight champion, excuse me. Moran is 10-2, 2 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 10-2 in Fury. So all his fights have been in this promotion. He's the champion. He's got 1 successful defense under his belt already. He's won 3 straight fights in 9 of 10. He used to fight as bantamweight as well. Pretty much every flyweight has fought at bantamweight. 3 years younger than Rodriguez, 6 inches taller, which is huge for a flyweight. And we don't have odds. Go right ahead.
That's because we have a short king.
5'2" versus 5'8". It's true.
Yeah. Do you know Freddie Rodriguez's full name is Alfredo Rodriguez III?
Oh, fantastic.
Which is just
the
awesome.
Comeback kid.
Yeah,
everything about him.
The comeback kid, Alfredo. Alfredo's going to be a massive dog here. I think plus 250-ish. And I'm going to take him in this fight. You told me I had to swear off Short Kings, and
you can't quit them, dude.
I can't quit the Short Kings. Freddie Rodriguez. Here's what I like about him in here. He comes from a college wrestling background. Granted, not a very high-level college wrestling background, but pretty much anybody who's fought him can't wrestle him. With the exception of he fought Nick Piccinini. I'm going to say his name wrong. It's super Italian. But the guy who fought at Oklahoma State, he fought at
Usually we're good with Italian names. We make every name Italian around these parts.
Piccinini.
See, it sounds right already.
And
it works.
Call back to a few episodes ago. No, but like that guy fights at Oklahoma State or wrestled at Oklahoma State. Then he transferred to Fortis and has been training with Fortis. He used to train with Daniel Cormier because he comes from Oklahoma State. Like a high level wrestler is the only person who's beaten Freddie Rodriguez. And if you watch Paris Moran's last fight, he fought Shamik Harvey. Shamik Harvey is a guy who maybe you guys know of if you follow the regional scene, but he's one of the best friends of Brian Battle and trains out of Brian Battle's gym. And like just in that fight, I thought there was an argument to give that decision to Shamik Harvey, mostly just because he won all of the scrambles. And Paris Moran looked, maybe a touch better on the feet and maybe was getting the better of some of the exchanges, but he was like losing a lot of those scrambling battles and like getting pinned against the cage. And Freddie Rodriguez is an explosive wrestler, a great scrambler, and I think he's infinitely faster than Paris Moran. So if they just hang Paris Moran up here as the favorite because he's the champ, and because he's coming off of some really nice wins, and because Freddie Rodriguez looks like he doesn't have much experience, I think it's a massive mistake here. Freddie Rodriguez would be a line I would gas up if he's over plus 200. And literally into being a favorite, I'm still interested in Freddie Rodriguez. So, give me him in this main event.
All right. Awesome. Gas up that line. All right. Everyone get on Moran so Gumby can get Rodriguez for cheaper. Okay. Before we get to our 17 lightning round
I'm not
picks.
doing
All
all
right.
17.
Come on. What a sellout this guy is. He's selling out the people. All right. He's got Rodriguez. He's got DelValle. He's got Doyle. He's got Heffernan. He's got King. All right. We're going to get lots of YouTube complaints. Gumby, go right ahead.
Yeah, I only do 2 or 3 in the lightning round. I'm only going to do 2 here too. First name I'm going to look at is, and again, it's a debuting fighter, early fight guys. So like, I don't know what the lines are going to be like on this, but I love Austin O'Connor. He's a guy who wrestled at UNC. We've seen that be a pretty good path to success for some of these regional level guys. We had a UNC wrestler last week that we broke down as well. Look, I just think the control is going to be there. And it tends to be in like the early MMA fights when you're, 0-0 or 1-0 or something like that. You lean on that wrestling a little heavier. I think he's going to lean on it here and win. The other one I like is Felipe Roca. Felipe Roca is a 205-pound amateur who's going to be making his pro debut. His jiu-jitsu is nasty for a guy who has no pro fights. I really like that at 205 pounds because there's not a lot of regional light heavyweight or heavyweight grapplers who are worth the shit when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And that's just a fact. So I think Roca's jiu-jitsu is really going to play up here. Again, we're talking about lines for people with pretty much no fights. So it's going to be interesting to see how they line up. But either of those two come in with a favorable number next to their name, and I'm in on it.
And if you want picks on any of the other 15 fights, by my math, get in our Discord, right?
Yeah, if you bug me about him, I'll talk about him.
Yeah, only if you bug him. Gumby wants to be bugged. Hear that, ladies and gentlemen? He wants to be bugged. Don't worry. Your kids are almost done school for the summer. You shall be bugged plenty very soon, right?
Yeah.
This goes pour out a little liquor for all the parents who's it's almost the best time of the year, right? Summer vacation. All right. There are all your picks. The Discord that I spoke of would be sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We're seeing new people in there all the time. It was pretty jumping this past weekend for UFC 302, but it's pretty much always busy. And you don't know if UFC, at least for the UFC, it's for other events too. Fight card does not officially start until our man Jong announces that it's fight card. Usually he announces it quite early, and you're still waiting for the fights to happen. But nonetheless, get in there and connect with us. It would be great. We're at SGPN MMA on Twitter. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer on there and on Instagram. Get into the YouTube. You've heard of the YouTube, right, kids? Subscribe to our MMA Gambling Podcast channel there. Help us out. Get us up to 1,000 subscribers. That would be great. So if you have about 400 dummy accounts or alias accounts, by all means, hit subscribe on all of them. That would help us out. What else? I got a Substack, moneymma.substack.com. A free subscription will get you in my weekly pick'em contest. Obviously, a paid subscription is even better because then you unlock all of my articles and content I put on there. And I made it as cheap as possible on Substack, $30 for a year. Come on, you wouldn't even notice it. Gumby's going to win you way like 10 times that at least off this event. You can support Gumby by listening to his other podcasts. You don't have to listen to me that way either. It's a win-win. Top Turtle MMA podcast. Remind the people, if they haven't heard already, who is on it this week.
Miguel Baeza, who's fighting at UFC Louisville, and Akon Wanless, who is fighting on Octagon 58, which we covered yesterday.
And there you go. We did. And we're going to be covering Mr. Baez's fight tomorrow. He's on the prelims. No, he's on the main card.
He was on the main card. Yeah.
Thursday. You have to wait a couple of days for our breakdown of that fight. All right. And then sportsgamblingpodcast.com, obviously, is the place to go for all good things in sports gambling sphere. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, because you're not allowed to go outside naked. And maybe if some Europeans can, right, that are listening to us, they have different laws and stuff over there. But for us in North America, you have to wear clothes. So you may as well wear some of our swag. And then sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. So you can help support us and keep us around. We'll be back tomorrow. It will be the grinder Jeff Fox and the comeback kid Gumby Vreeland, because he's trying to catch up to me in our overall UFC standings. We'll talk to you then. Bye.